Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 9 p.m. English News Edition. Here are the top stories. Congratulatory message from the President of the Republic to his Turkish counterpart. Launch of a series of conferences on peace and dialogue in Djibouti. And now for the international news, Egypt sends heavy machinery to Gaza to clear rubble in Palestine. The details tonight. Welcome to our newsroom, and we begin this news with a message of congratulations from the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, to his Turkish counterpart on the occasion of the National Day of the Republic of Turkey. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Al-Hajj Ismail Omar Guelleh, sent a message of congratulations to his counterpart, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. In his telegram, the head of state expressed on behalf of the people and government of Djibouti his sincere wishes for continued development, prosperity and progress to the brotherly Turkish nation. President Ismail Omar Guelleh also praised the bonds of fraternity, solidarity and cooperation that unite Djibouti and Turkey in nearly all fields of activity. He emphasized that the privileged nature of the bilateral relations is reflected in the growing volume of economic and commercial exchanges between the two countries. Finally, the head of state reiterated his warm congratulations to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and to the entire brotherly Turkish people on this highly symbolic day. And now on Monday, October 27th, 2025, the President of the National Assembly, His Excellency Dileita Mohamed Dileita, received an important delegation from the European Parliament in ceremonial hall of the National Assembly, led by Her Excellency Dr. Denise Helene Lonet, Ambassador of the European Union to the Republic of Djibouti, and to IGAD. The delegation included Mrs. Marie-Agnès, chair of the Subcommittee on Security and Defense, members of the European Parliament, Tonino Picula, Isabel Wizard-Lima, Michael, and Tobias Kremer. Also present were Mr. Gerard, head of unit, and Mrs. Anna, administrator at the same committee. On the Djiboutian side, participants include the Vice President of the National Assembly, His Excellency Mr. Honorable Omar Ahmed Wa'is, the chair of the Defense and Security Committee, Mrs. Nouria Waberi, and Mr. Idris Mohammed Ahmed, Chief of Staff to the President of the National Assembly. The same European delegation, His Excellency Mr. Hassan Omar Mohammed, Ministry of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, received on Monday at 11 a.m. at the Hassan Bassouma Hassan Officials Hotel a delegation from the European Parliament Subcommittee on Security and Defense, led by its chair, Mrs. Marie-Agnès. This high-level visit took place within the framework of strengthening the strategic partnership between the European Union and the Republic of Djibouti, particularly in the areas of security and defense, with special attention given to maritime security in the Horn of Africa. Discussion focused on the robustness of the European Union-Djibouti partnership, regional and international security challenges, as well as the efforts and initiatives undertaken by Djibouti to contribute to regional stability and the fight against the transnational threats such as piracy, terrorism, and illicit trafficking. The Ministry of Defense commended the exemplary cooperation between Djibouti and the European Union, illustrated by the presence of European operations such as UNAVFOR Atalante and UNAVFOR Aspides, which play an essential role in securing the strategic maritime routes of the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. And now the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, received at Camp Sheikh Osman an important delegation from the Armed Forces of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, led by Major General Abdulaziz Al-Daris, Director General of Religious Affairs of the Saudi Armed Forces. This meeting took place within the framework of strengthening bilateral cooperation between the Djiboutian Armed Forces and the Saudi Arabia Armed Forces, particularly in the field of religious affairs and spiritual training of military personnel. During the meeting, both parties discussed ways to consolidate fraternal ties and promote religious values within the armed forces through joint training, programs, exchange of expertise, and reciprocal visits. On this occasion, the General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim praised the excellent relations between the Republic of Djibouti and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, built on fraternity, cooperation, and mutual respect. Again, expressed his wish to see this collaboration extend to other areas of common interest. The meeting took place in a warm and fraternal atmosphere in the presence of several senior officials from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Djibouti and the members of the Saudi delegation. And now the Finance, General Economy and Planning Committee met on Monday, October 27th to review Bill number 185, Year 25, 90th legislation, approving the financial statement of the National Water and Sanitation Authority of Djibouti, ONAYAD, for the 2023 fiscal year. The session chaired by Honorable Shamarke Musa Are, President of the committee, was attended by Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Awale, Minister of Agriculture, accompanied by the Director of ONAYAD and the Chairman of the Board. At the conclusion of deliberations, the Finance Committee issued a favorable opinion on the bill, which will be submitted for adoption during the next public session of the National Assembly. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Government spokesperson, His Excellency Mr. Abdul Qadir Hussein Omar, made his first official visit to Doha, the capital of the state of Qatar. The visit forms part of the Djiboutian government's ongoing effort to strengthen the strategic partnership and deepen the bonds of cooperation between the two border nations, guided by a shared vision of regional stability and prosperity. Upon his arrival in Doha, the Djiboutian Foreign Minister held talks with His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman Al Thani, Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Qatar. Both officials conducted an in-depth review of bilateral relations and discussed ways to enhance cooperation in various fields of common interest. During his stay, Minister Abdul Qadir Hussein Omar also met with His Excellency Sultan bin Saad Al Muraikhi, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs of Qatar. This friendly and cooperative exchange culminated in the signing of two important memorandum of understanding. Now, under the high patronage of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, in collaboration with the Heritage Institute, a series of conference on peace and dialogue was officially launched this morning at the People's Palace. This event holds a special significance as it coincide with the 25th anniversary of the ARTA Conference, a historic milestone marking the beginning of Somalia peace and state reconstruction process. The opening ceremony was attended by Minister Mu'min Hassan Barre, Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf. Representing the Djiboutian government, Mr. Abdurazak Omar Mohammed, Somali Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources. Mr. Geli Idris Omar Geli, Director of Multilateral Relations at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Mr. Mursal Sani, Executive Director of the Heritage Institute. The conference aimed to foster constructive dialogue among the various stakeholders, share experiences on peace and security issues, and strengthen locally and regional
resources, Abdurazak Omar Mohammed, but also the Director of Multilateral Relations, Gili Idris Omar, and the representing of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Somalia. The conference will aim to promote constructive dialogue between various stakeholders, exchange ideas on peace and security issues, and strengthen local and regional conflict management. This initiative and the discussion will also seek to draw on the lesson learned from ARTA Peace Conference, which marked the beginning of the renaissance for the Somali state, and raise public awareness of the importance of dialogue as a tool for resolving dispute and building a peaceful society. In his address, the Director of Multilateral Relations, representing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Geli Idris Omar, indicated that this meeting represents a decisive step step in consolidating the peace progress. He also emphasized that this meeting provide a framework for constructive dialogue, consultation, and fruitful exchange between the various stakeholders.
And now taking the floor in turn, Mr. Abdurazak Umar Mohammed, Somali Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, paid a heartfelt tribute to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Al-Hajj Ismail Omar Guelleh.
In his address, Mr. Abdurazak Umar Mohammed, Somali Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, paid a glowing tribute to the President of the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, and to the Djiboutian people for restoring hope to a people long wounded and ruined by war. In his speech, the Minister praised the historic and decisive role played by Djibouti in the research for a consolidation of peace in Somalia. He recalled that the Arta Peace Conference, organized under the auspices of President Ismail Omar Guelleh, was the starting point of a new chapter for the Somali nation, laying the foundations for dialogue, reconciliation, and national reconstruction. Mr. Abdurazak Umar Mohammed also spoke movingly of the fact that he himself was the fruit of this peace conference, emphasizing that without the momentum of fraternity and stability born in Arta, Somalia would undoubtedly have continued to sink into conflict. Finally, he expressed his deep gratitude to the people and government of Djibouti for their continued solidarity and unwavering commitment to peace, not only in Somalia, but throughout the Horn of Africa region.
And now, in closing the opening ceremony, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf Properties, welcomed all participants to this conference series dedicated to peace and dialogue.
Finally, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, Minister of Muslim Affairs and Cultures and Endowment, welcomed all participants to this series of conferences dedicated to peace and dialogue. Speaking on behalf of the President of the Republic of Djibouti, the government and people of Djibouti, he declared, "Welcome to your country, the Republic of Djibouti." The minister recalled that at the time of the Arta Peace Conference, he was responsible for the media that covered the proceeding of this historic event. He emphasized that this team had the honor of conducting numerous interviews and broadcasts that were widely followed by Somalis around the world, testifying to the importance and hope inspired by this meeting. Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre highlighted the courage and visions of the newly elected President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, who took responsibility for organizing a peace conference for the Somali people, deeply affected by the absence of the Somali state on the international scene. He recalled that at the time, few people believed in the success of this initiative, but that the head of state had launched this appeal.
And now we report 25 years ago, Djibouti transformed a moral vision into a historic peace initiative by hosting the Somali Conference in Arta. The details in this report.
The way of peace, the genesis of the Arta process. In 2000, a breath of fresh air swept through the Republic of Djibouti. The country was preparing to write a page that history would never forget. At its head, one man, a serene face, a measured voice, but behind this calm, an immense vision, Ismail Omar Guelleh. While Somalia sank into the tumult of armies, he dared to do something few would have had the courage to imagine, to reach out to the cow and to believe against all odds that a small countries could reunite the light of a shattered nation. Where great powers had tried, failed, and given up, Djibouti moved forward alone with the faith as its only armor, without military might, without promises of glory, without political illusions, but with that rare conviction that diplomacy, when it comes from the heart, is not a strategy, it is an act of hope. And it was in the heart of a small village, Arta, that this hope would take shape. For months, men and women from all over Somalia would gather there. Clan leaders, former ministers, religious leaders, intellectuals, members of the diaspora, and above all, women, those who refused to lead peace be made without their voices. In Arta, they would talk, listen to one another and recognize one another in the warmth of the tent, they would relearn the grammar of forgiveness. Little by little, under Djibouti's watchful eye, word would triumph over suspicion and dialogue over despair. It was Djibouti's audacious miracle, a miracle born not of force, but of fraternity. Arta, this part of Djibouti, became the symbol of a historic rupture for the first time since, in 1991, an African initiative carried not by armies, but by trust, managed to bring together all the components of the Somali nation, clans, the diaspora, women, religious leaders, intellectuals, everyone who made up civil society. It was a risky, visionary, almost insane gamble to believe that words could still save a nation, and that day, in the silence of Arta, Djibouti proved that small countries can accomplish great things, not by force, not by fortune, but by faith. Faith in peace, faith in humanity, faith in Africa.
And now the Republic of Djibouti was represented in Cairo on the 72nd session of the World Health Organization Regional Committee for the Eastern Mediterranean, held under the theme Together for a Healthier Future, Action, Access, Equity. Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdillah, Ministry of Health, represented Djibouti's progress in vaccination, community health, and the fight against communicable disease, reaffirming the country's commitment to continue strengthening its national health system. On the sidelines of the session, Djibouti signed an MOU a memorandum of understanding with Somalia, Yemen, and Sudan, aimed at strengthening regional cooperation in the fight against disease, adaptation to the health impacts of climate change, and the care of vulnerable populations. And now we are back to Djibouti, where the Center for Studies and Research of Djibouti, CERD, inaugurated a new agroecology laboratory this Sunday at its headquarters in the presence of Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, Minister of Higher Education and Research, and Dr. Jaluddin Mohammed, Director General of CERD. This event marks an important milestone in advancement of scientific and environmental research in Djibouti. The inauguration ceremony held on the CERD premises brought together an audience of researchers, academics, and technical experts. The minister toured the laboratory facilities. Guided by the scientific teams, he observed firsthand the experimental setups, ongoing plantation studies, and analytical procedures designed to assess soil quality, water management, and the resilience of arid ecosystems. Researchers presented to the minister their key areas of focus, centered on the restoration of degraded soils, the valorization of local resources, and the promotion of sustainable agricultural practices adapted to Djibouti's climatic conditions. Following the inauguration of the agroecology laboratory at CERD, the day continued at the Isla Grand Hotel, where the launch ceremony of the new research training school was held under the theme and interdisciplinary approaches to land degradation and ecosystem restoration. The event brought together Djiboutian international researchers, academics, doctoral students, and representatives of the partner institutions, including the French National Research Institute for Sustainable Development. Professor Umaru Malam Isa of IRD then presented the main component of the training academic program. He outlined the training modules, planned field work, and integrated analytical methods combining earth sciences, biology, geography, and social sciences. The research training aspires to become a regional center of excellence, training researchers capable of combining scientific rigor with practical field action. The opening ceremony began with welcoming remarks from Dr. Jaluddin Mohammed, the Director General of CERD, who highlighted the scientific, educational, and strategic significance of this initiative, emphasizing at the same time its role in strengthening research capacity, fostering innovation, and promoting collaboration between national and international scientific communities in support of Djibouti's sustainable development goals. And now in his closing address, the Minister of Higher Education and Research, His Excellency Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, hailed the launch of the school as a decisive milestone in building an efficient, innovative, and sustainable research system in Djibouti, one that will foster scientific excellence, encourage interdisciplinary collaboration, and strengthen the country's capacity to address the environmental and developmental challenges of the future. The opening ceremony was held at the Djibouti Regional Training Center in the presence of Mr. Hassan Muhammad Ibrahim, Minister of Transport and Equipment, and Colonel Vice Omar Bagore, Commander of the Djiboutian Coast Guard, Vice Admiral Ignacio Serrano, Commander of Operation Atalanta, Mrs. Mina Hussein, Director of the DRTC, the European Union representatives. In her remark, Mrs. Mina, Director of Regional Center, recalled the central role for the DRCT in developing skills and fostering regional cooperation. Over the course of 5 days, participants will take part in a series of theoretical and practical activities, including a seminar on search and rescue operation, a legal workshop led by experts for the International Maritime Organization, sessions on maritime domain awareness, as well as joint sea drills conducted by Djiboutian Navy and Coast Guard. This exercise brings together high-level representatives from several countries and regional institutions, including the Somali Police, the Somali Coast Guard Department, and Sultanate of Oman, the Djiboutian Navy and Coast Guard. The second edition of Dorale represents a new milestone in operational cooperation between Djibouti, Somalia, and regional coordination centers, reaffirming Djibouti's strategic role as a regional platform for maritime training, coordination, and security in the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea. And now we listen to the Commander of Atalanta and the Commander of the Djiboutian Coast Guard.
Dolare 2 exercise is an upgrade of Dolare 1, with greater participation, a more comprehensive list of activities, joint planning, a regional international flavor, and a full range of activities, including workshops, seminars, practical drills, and exercises at sea. Like Emina mentioned, when I signed the Memorandum of Understanding with the DRTC director a year and a half ago, I promised her that Atlanta would support the DRTC in finding content to make the document relevant. I believe that with today's Doralea 2 exercise, we have achieved that goal. It is now time for forces and HQs to execute the exercise correctly, but we have set the stage for success.
It's a great honor to address you today on the occasion of the Dorale Regional Exercise 2. This event stands as a strong symbol of our collective commitment to strengthening maritime security and safety in the Western Indian Ocean, Gulf of Aden, Bab al-Mandab, and the Red Sea, a vital space for the stability, prosperity, and the cooperation of our nations. As you know, the Republic of Djibouti, as a maritime nation, draws its strength and identity from its strategic location at the crossroads of major global sea routes. Our country has always placed a particular emphasis on the security and the governance of maritime spaces, not only a source of economic growth, but also a cornerstone of our sovereignty and the national security.
In turn, both the representatives of the European Union, followed by the technical advisor to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, expressed their deep appreciation and satisfaction with this initiative, commending the government of Djibouti and its partners for their continued commitment to strengthening regional maritime cooperation, promoting collective security, and fostering sustainable capacity building efforts across the Western Indian Ocean region, the Red Sea, the Bab el-Mandeb. In his remark, the Minister, His Excellency Hassan Ahmed Ibrahim, underscored the strategic importance of exercises such as Dorale, noting that they significantly strengthen regional cooperation, facilitate the exchange and sharing of operational expertise, and enhance the capacity of maritime security forces, also contribute to the broader stability and safety of critical sea lanes in the Western Indian Ocean and the Red Sea region. He also emphasized that such initiatives foster mutual trust among partners, nations, support coordinated responses to emerging maritime threats, and promote sustainable development and security across the region. And now a declaration of the Director General of INSTAD, Mr. Ibrahim, on the occasion of the launch of the General Business Census, the RGE. The Director General of INSTAD emphasized that this operation aims to support economic development by providing reliable statistical data. He further called for the active collaboration of all relevant stakeholders to ensure the successful implementation of the census, highlighting its critical role in informing policy decisions, guiding investment strategies, and strengthening the overall economic planning framework in Djibouti. And now for the international news. On Monday, Egypt dispatched a convoy of heavy machinery to Gaza to clear debris and reopen main roads, supporting rehabilitation operations in the disaster-affected areas. At the same time, Washington is intensifying diplomatic efforts to launch the second phase of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, focused on prisoner exchanges and reconstruction. On the ground, the humanitarian situation remains critical, while Cairo continues consultations with regional partners to consolidate the trust. This is it for this 9 p.m. English News Edition. Thank you for watching us. Stay tuned for more on RTD.